We are now going to move into our next presentation, which is with Nicolas Pascal from Blue Finance. Nicolas, if you would like to come into the virtual room, I'm sure you're probably getting into your limousine right as we speak. We're looking forward to having Nicolas talk to us about accelerator solutions and funding mechanisms, which I'm particularly quite interested in listening to. So over to you, Nicolas.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Nicolas. I'm the director of Blue Finance. So good day to everyone. I'm calling from Europe. So we basically very shortly we're going to present you what is Blue Finance. So Blue Finance is a social enterprise. We dedicated to develop and implement impact investment solutions for marine biodiversity, food security, and climate change. Basically, our bottom line is to ensure that marine conservation, marine protected areas can become investable and more importantly, can become effectively managed in the long term and financially sustainable. So I'm very shortly going to present you what we have developed already into marine protected areas worldwide in Dominican Republic and in Philippines, and how we want to upscale this approach with impact investors and other donors. And slide, please. So as I think as a matter of fact, I think everyone is aware that the ocean is today under major threats. We have overfishing, we have pollution, climate change, and for coral reefs, the threats are even higher. So we have one tool that have been used in the last 30 years, scientifically proven, which is called marine protected areas, MPAs, which are working. Okay, they enhance the marine biodiversity, they produce benefits for the blue economy, for local communities, and this is really a fantastic tool to put nature back to a full speed. Unfortunately, most of these MPAs worldwide in developing countries, but in developed countries also, I think 60% of them are what we call a paper park, totally only designated on paper, but totally ineffective without any proper staff and under finance. So what we want to do as Blue Finance, we don't want to solve the situation for the world, but we think that there's a scope for at least 200, 300 MPAs worldwide where we can bring and where we can unlock private capital, blended finance for these MPAs. And we have proven it already in 2 MPA projects in Dominican Republic for one of the largest MPA in the Caribbean and in Philippines, south of Manila. Basically, our achievements benefit directly coastal households and coral reef under protection and under active management. Next, please. So our approach is quite straightforward. We rely on 3 pillars. The first one is, as you know, all the coastal areas are under government or under public custody. So what we need is to structure, or we can call it a public and private partnership agreement with government, so that we can have a lease for the co-management, for the day-to-day management of the MPAs. There's no transfer property, it's not a concession, it's just a lease, just telling government, okay, you have designated this MPA, I can help you to manage it. Okay, sorry, can you come back? Next slide. So that's the first pillar. Oh, no, previous one. Okay, thank you. So this is a lease agreement to develop with the MPAs. The second one is, this is the important one, this is to create tangible revenue models for the MPAs. And as we know, marine conservation and conservation in general and protected areas, this is not the focus when they designate it. The focus, and that's totally understandable, is about conservation, is about communities, and it's about monitoring and scientific approaches, but not to create revenue. So we bring this entrepreneur approach into the marine conservation world. Okay, and we have the help of blended finance partners, so development banks, impact investors, donors, to finance the upfront needs of the MPAs. So this is the 3 pillars that we have developed in how 2 MPAs in Dominican Republic and in Philippines. Next slide, please. So these revenues, I will go very quickly on it, but that's really the key aspect of it, of how do we make investable a marine park, a marine sanctuary. So we have a portfolio of different revenues that can be developed. Some of them depend on tourism. We try to diversify, obviously, under this COVID context, the dependence on tourism, but this go from user fees, innovative visitor center using digital experiences, underwater attractions like wakes, but we're also now working with blue carbon, sustainable fisheries, and new mechanism like payment for ecosystem services. Next slide. So activities that are done in our park are quite straightforward. They go from sustainable practices regarding fishery, tourism, up to a large community engagement and work with communities, trying to develop new incomes for fishers or awareness. And obviously all of this linked with compliance of laws, just to ensure that all the uses are sustainable. All of this is done with local partners. This is not Blue Finance NGO, which is managing the park. Everything, each park is really managed by a local board. We call it a special purpose entity, which is run by local partners. Blue Finance just sit as a board member, but we lost over 6 other members, and these people are really the one recruiting the staff and doing the day-to-day management. We bring our entrepreneur and our technical assistance support to them. Next slide. So the impact are quite straightforward. We're going to protect coral reef. So here in that case, we are protecting more than 900,000 hectares of coral reef, 30,000 households, critical coastal household, mainly in Philippines, and artisanal fishers supported also. All the impacts are assessed using key KPIs, key performance indicators, and this has been agreed already with the impact investors. Next slide. Okay, so the idea is to upscale this. This is the team that we have behind. It's a small NGO, dynamic one. So social enterprise, but mixing really people coming from the MPA, Marine Protected Area Management world, with conservation finance, and more specifically towards the revenue mechanism. Next slide. Partners have been, so we've been created more than 5 years ago now. So we have we are proud to announce that we have a lot of very interesting partners and very supportive to all the efforts. We have both partners for the day-to-day management and the setup of this public and private partnership with governments. So going from institutional partners like UNDP to very concrete on-site partners in Dominican Republic and Philippines, and in the other sites where we are upscaling the approach. And we have some overall partners specifically for the blended finance approach that you can see on there on the slide. So how ask? We want, and we are already developing this approach in 5 other MPAs in Southeast Asia mainly. We think we can get to the investment readiness of these MPAs by 2022. Each MPA, similar case as in Dominican Republic and in Philippines, is more or less an investment ticket, approx $2 million US or $3 million US. We have secured already with impact investors, with 2 impact investors, a soft commitment for up to $6 million US to invest in these other MPAs. And we are looking for a mix of grant and debt instruments up to $5.2 million to accelerate the investment readiness of these MPAs. And with that, I will conclude. And you want a last slide? Just putting nice pictures, I think sometimes can help reconnect with this wonderful marine life. Thank you very much.